Do you want a chance to win up to $250,000? Well, you can at 442picks.ca. Here's how it works. Each week, you pick the winners of each Premier League match for your chance to win weekly and monthly prizes. And remember, up to $250,000 in prize money. I'm signed up, as are my Room 442 teammates Sarah Pararia and Albert Vitanian, so why not join us for your chance to win at 442picks.ca. Hello there, football fans, and welcome to the final Room 442 of the year, kind of. We'll be playing clips a lot over the next number of days, but it's the end of 2023. No Sarah Pararia, just myself, James Sharman, and Albert Vitanian. Sarah has taken ill at just the wrong time because she was going to host this damn show today.
Yeah, so she was.
Had great ideas.
A quiz,
a look-back segment, all this creative brilliance in Sarah's brain, which she didn't write down. So we're going to wing today's show, but I'm happy about that because it'll be a good show regardless. I think there's so much to talk about in the year that was. We might touch on a quiz a little bit, actually, and use some of those questions to drive conversation. But let's start with this, Bertie. Looking back on the year, was it a good football year? The big events were Women's World Cup. You had Man City winning a treble, of course.
Yeah.
Messi coming to North America. Big moments. Was it a great football year?
Oh, that's tough to say. I was talking to Sarah yesterday. I thought the World Cup happened in 2023. It did.
Kind of feels like it, doesn't it?
It feels like it did. So I was going to say, the World Cup was great, so that doesn't count. The treble was great. Nothing else really stands out to me outside of what Haaland did, which was incredible. City winning the treble. This is maybe a bit of a stretch, but United won the League Cup in 2023. You remember that?
That's a great
Do you
point.
remember who?
Totally
I was just looking
that.
at this. Do you remember who was in net for Newcastle United?
So it wasn't Nick Pope.
No. He was suspended.
It wasn't Dubrovnik.
No. Dubrovka? No.
You know what? It was.
He played in a Champions League final.
Yeah. Tell me.
Loris Karius.
That's right.
Do you remember that? And he was actually half decent, but
what
they
is
lost.
A half decent keeper. Just one awful game at the wrong freaking time for Liverpool fans.
Oh my God, that was a brutal game in the Champions League final. We won't.
No, that was a previous year.
But and then at that time when United won, we thought, whoa, they got it right with Ten Hag.
Yep.
And that's changed.
Is that the storyline of the year? The decline of
possibly. I mean, maybe
United?
maybe Rashford went on a tear. City obviously winning the treble, but then Ten Hag, and then the decline of Manchester United once again.
Ronaldo left in 2023. Early on, went to Saudi Arabia. That was a huge story.
Was that 20? Yeah, it was.
It was. We knew it was happening. I think in December. It was going to happen. Officially, it happened in January, which was one of the most defining moments of this. Well, not just this year, but football in general, right? It's when the Saudi Arabian Super League became relevant in the transfer market. They got arguably the biggest name in world football. And then added to that as the season went on.
Yeah,
that was a huge season.
That might be the biggest story in the year.
And a sad story in many ways.
Ronaldo, Benzema, N'Golo Kante, Koulibaly.
Ruben Neves, a younger player who's brilliant.
That was the most surprising one, I think, because we just thought, okay, this is going to be the Chinese Super League. This is going to be MLS, where older stars go to just make money and play football. And then when Ruben Neves went, it was like, oh, this is different.
Yeah. That's really interesting, actually. Now, he was the one, though, wasn't he? Wasn't too many other stars at that age that went over.
Off the top of my head, I don't think so.
But maybe that's the most transformative news story of the football year. Now, that being said, the European ruling just this past week that potentially legitimized a Super League in that they ruled that UEFA cannot sanction teams for leaving their competitions. Now, I don't think the Super League is any closer than it was before. A lot of clubs have come out and saying we have solidarity with UEFA, but at least it's not illegal to potentially join that league now. So that's big, potentially transformative. But let's not talk about the Super Leagues.
The Super League, Sharms, already exists. It's the Premier League. Look where all the stars of every country, where they're going. Outside of Saudi Arabia for money, but they're going to the Premier League. Like I look back to when Spurs signed Cristiano Romero. And Spurs shouldn't even been in that position. At the time, he was Serie A Defender of the Year. They got the best goal scorer in the world in Erling Haaland. They're spending $100 million on defensive midfielders. Moises Caicedo. Lavia was like 50, 60 million. No one even knows who he is. He hasn't even played a game yet. Enzo Fernandez was what, 90 million?
Yeah.
So the
Stupid
Super
money.
League exists. It's the Premier League. It really is.
Well, that's why they're trying to create a Super League, though.
Yeah.
To defeat the Premier League. It isn't almost to defeat UEFA.
Right.
When Florentino Perez and Real Madrid in particular are trying to formulate this thing, it's because they know the Prem attracts all the money, all the TV deals, all the best players, all the best coaches. It is, like you said, the Super League. They want a Super League to take that away because they're feeling ripped off in Spain and Italy and Germany.
Yeah.
They hate the Premier League for that reason.
The best was the PSG president. You see his comment about Perez? It's like, isn't it kind of hard to talk about the Super League when you're standing in front of Champions League trophies? I'm like, that's true.
Yeah, no, of course it is. And they take that so seriously, right?
Yeah.
But it's essentially they're pissing all over the Champions League, right? Because a Super League that's what it would kill off. It would kill off top European competition.
Yeah.
It would kill off the Champions League.
Yeah.
And this new format they've proposed, this 3-league promotion relegation system, is more attractive than the initial concept. But most clubs have so far distanced themselves at the moment. But yeah, you're right. Florentino Perez, of all people. I mean, my God, settle down.
I love watching the old clips of him in the stands smoking a cigarette.
I know, he is old
like,
school,
I love
isn't he?
that.
Yeah.
He is old
He's
school.
like a Don.
He's a mob.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he's like a
he
mob
is.
guy. I saw a report yesterday. I was showing Sarah this. I don't know how true it is. It was a Spanish outlet. They have like 400,000 followers. I don't know how to pronounce the name. It starts with a V. But saying that the Champions League is going to scrap the new format and stick with the old format. I don't know if you've heard that.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I have no idea. That was the headline. And the whole article is in Spanish. They didn't have the translate option on the website, so I couldn't even
There's
read
no
it.
way. Because they've already committed to 36 teams or 37 teams
But yeah,
for next season,
Will they
right?
just make more groups.
And the Swiss model.
I don't know.
Have you ever, I was researching next year's Champions League for a column, and I started Googling Swiss model. You can go down a rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, you did, didn't you?
I did.
So you didn't finish that article
You can
yet?
kill off a good afternoon going down that rabbit hole.
Still writing that article into the
Still
new
writing,
year.
yep, exactly. Man, there are some Swiss models out there.
Is there one that I would know? Like, is there a popular?
No, not well-known ones. I mean,
okay.
I'm not that big in the model world. Ellie, our producer, probably is.
Yeah, he is for sure.
But I don't know many Swiss models, but they've got a few, and they cut muster.
What
Put
does
it
that
way.
mean? They cut mustard?
Yeah, muster.
Oh, what does that mean?
It's the same.
I just want to correct one thing. You said models. I know models. That would be porn stars, actually.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So Ellie knows Swiss porn stars, not so much models. Yeah, he got confused there with Swiss models and Swiss porn stars. Thanks, Ellie, for clarifying that for
A
us.
Swiss porn star.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay. So that's enough about Super Leagues for the time.
Yeah,
being,
yeah.
though.
What are we doing?
I know.
Super League.
The treble and Haaland was within the Premier League, obviously, the story.
Probably.
Incredible that they accomplished that and how hard it is. And now we're seeing this year City struggling. And I do wonder how much of that is to do with fatigue and burnout from that. That being said, they're on the cusp of winning the Club World Cup.
Ooh.
Watch out for that this weekend.
Yeah, there's probably that for sure. They've dealt with some serious injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think people forget how good Kevin De Bruyne is and how much he means to that team. I was thinking about this. I was trying to figure out who is actually the most important player on Manchester City. And if you go back and look at that treble-winning season, if you take Haaland out, do you think City would still win the treble?
Yeah.
I think they would. Because they've played without a striker and they're able to win Premier Leagues and go deep in Champions League competitions.
He helped. I mean, listen, he scored a crap load of goals in the
He
Champions
definitely
League.
helped. But I'm like, where does
Rodri,
everyone
I
fall in
think, is
line?
the
And
most
I think
important player.
it goes Rodri and De Bruyne, maybe 1A and 1B. I'm not taking anything away from Haaland. I just feel like Man City, they just play a completely different style without Haaland in that team. And maybe playing to Haaland is actually what's hurting them.
Well, they have Alvarez kind of playing in that role. He's
Yeah.
not naturally fit in that type of role.
No, he's not number 9.
No. But no, he's. It's a fascinating conversation.
And you
We'll
mentioned
see.
actually too when Gundo left, you said that's going to hurt City.
Yeah.
And I think
Well, he
I
wasn't
think-
replaced, right?
No, he was not. I mean, look who's in their midfield. They tried Kovacic, it's not working. The new kid they brought, Matthias Nunes, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's not really working out.
Well, that's
At
what I
one
mean.
point
They're
this season,
playing
they-
Alvarez there. They're playing Alvarez deeper.
Yeah.
In their playmaking role.
At one point this season, who would they play? I can't remember.
Well, they've got Rico Lewis, who stepped up in midfield.
They had
two
6
times.
defenders in their starting 11,
Mhm.
right? It's center backs playing, like John Stones is playing in the midfield. But yeah, I mean, it's a strange season for Manchester City. I thought the result against Crystal Palace, being up 2-0 at home, and then drawing that game 2-2, that's shocking. I could not believe that.
That might be the result of the year, actually.
It might be.
Given that at 2-0, I'm turning the TV off. There's no way Palace are getting back in that game.
This
no
Palace
chance.
side, this is not a good Palace side at all.
They're not a bad Palace side.
They're defensively, they're pretty good, but they really haven't shown anything.
No, you're right. They're a bad running
in an
games.
attacking sense, yeah. So I thought that was a shocking result.
Yeah, just 2-0 is you hammer it down, right?
Yeah.
You stop taking bets at 2-0.
Yeah, exactly.
You think, right? So, yeah, that was incredible. But De Bruyne is back in the new year.
Yeah.
We'll see then what happens, how that changes their
wonder
fortunes.
how Pep
They're still in
uses
the hunt. What do you still think? Let's look ahead now to 2024. Who's going to win the Prem right now? I'm still putting money on Man City.
They're still favorite to win the
They
Premier
are
League.
favorites still.
They're
Yeah,
favorite. I think it's
North Star
them,
bets have it, yeah.
Arsenal, or no, it might be Liverpool, Arsenal, or flip-flop, and then it drops off to Aston Villa, who's still like 11 to 12 to 1.
Yeah, like way out.
I can't discount City, but like I said, that result changes the way I see Manchester City moving forward. I don't care if you don't have De Bruyne. I don't care if you don't have Haaland. You're up 2-0. You're the champions. You're at home against Crystal Palace. You do not give up 2 goals in that situation. That's not Manchester City we're used to seeing.
Yeah, it's not. And maybe it'll be a wake-up call. They'll go to Saudi Arabia. They're going to win the Club World Cup probably this weekend.
And boom.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Hit the switch.
No, they can definitely make a run. But listen, Liverpool look really good. I mean, at times still look vulnerable, I think, defensively. Arsenal, I can't. I don't trust them. I don't know what it is. Still, the goalkeeping situation to me is not good. Mm-hmm. I don't think Raya is good. Ramsdale clearly is not Arteta's first choice. He might be moved along.
Yeah.
But we'll see. The January transfer window's popping up. Who knows what any of these teams do? Arsenal looking to bring in Douglas Luiz. I don't know how.
Yeah, but not in January.
How Villa would let him go.
No. Listen, Villa this season have been the story.
Yeah.
It's fair to say. We're talking about United being the story and their decline, Man City treble winners being a story. I think Villa this year are definitely the story.
Yeah.
I think they can hang in that conversation for top 4 football. Winning the league is a different animal entirely, late in the campaign in particular, but they'll reinforce in January. That ownership group is committed right now. But, to see where they've come from last season, listen, you look at Villa throughout the entire campaign, I think since Unai Emery came aboard, they're the second best record in the Prem.
Yeah.
So they've been a story throughout the entire season.
Yeah, I think so.
Ollie Watkins' emergence as a top number 9, big story in 2023. So yes, many, many great stories. The Women's World Cup, I know Sarah had a number of questions about this. When you think about that, what do you think of? Because I still think of the Jenny Hermoso, Rubiales scandal, which is so wrong because it's a really good World Cup. Expanded to 32 teams. Spain very much deserved winners. Had a lot of highlights. Linda Caicedo's World Cup was just brilliant. Bonmati was incredible throughout the campaign. But almost lost in that was this bullshit surrounding the Spanish Federation in its wake.
That went on
sad.
way too long.
Way too long.
But it needed to, right? A lot of things needed to change. Unfortunately, that's top of mind. Maybe Australia. That was a really good story. I love watching Sam Kerr. Yeah. The other day, was it like last week or the week before that? I was watching, it was Chelsea, maybe against Spurs. It was the women's Premier League. Mm-hmm. And it was just unbelievable.
Oh, Arsenal Spurs.
Yeah, Arsenal
Yeah,
Spurs.
it's North London derby.
No, it wasn't Arsenal Spurs. It was Chelsea Spurs.
Okay.
This was a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Anyway, I just thought the football was spectacular. Like Sam Kerr and Lauren James.
They're legit.
Like really good players.
Well, you mentioned the Spurs-Arsenal game, North London derby, last week.
And Spurs finally won.
Over 50,000 fans in that one. Yeah, I know exactly. Spurs won, right? Chloe Lacasse of our own Chloe Lacasse of Canada.
Yeah.
An incredible, they're losing side, but an incredible tackle at the end. If you haven't seen it, Google it. YouTube it. It's just absolutely brilliant tackle.
Yeah, the atmosphere is amazing.
It was.
Yeah.
Women's soccer, that is a story. Project 8 emerging this year. Christian Sinclair's farewell tour.
Yeah.
Canada wasn't great at the World Cup, but, redeemed themselves somewhat in the Olympic qualifying late in the campaign. But that was decent.
How did you think Canada handled Christine Sinclair's goodbye?
Oh, I think they did it really well.
I don't know. I thought they, there's been a lot of negative surrounding, Canadian soccer in that program. I thought they nailed that perfectly. How they did it, naming the stadium Sinclair Place in Vancouver.
It was seamless. They did a great job.
It was great, yeah. So kudos to Canada for doing that.
We can actually give Canada soccer credit.
I think we got to give them props. No one's doing it, but I think they deserve it.
100%. Yeah. They did a great job. They saw her off in style. Whether you need a 4-game farewell tour, we can debate that.
That's true.
She was uncomfortable, during it. That's not her natural place of comfort.
But they did it
right.
Those things are reserved for the greats, right? Not everybody deserves that.
No.
But if you're one of the greatest ever, maybe the greatest Canadian soccer player ever, I think you deserve a bit
And
of a
across
farewell
country, right? Literally across the country.
Yeah, I
Got
mean,
to
she
see her.
changed the game. She not only for women, but for men as well.
Well, she carried the game
I know.
for a long time in this country, right? So that was a good story. As for the men, it's a terrible, terrible, terrible year.
A horrible year, Charmin.
Oh, man. I mean, if you just think about the year before and where we were at, this transcending moment,
Excitement.
we've hit the tipping point.
I know.
Here it is. And they dropped the ball on and off the pitch. Let's be honest, it started with the Nations League, right? It started actually before. It started with John Herdman flirting with New Zealand. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then the Nations League, and they fell in the final to the States. You know, it's complete capitulation.
Miserable.
Really average Gold Cup. Then John Herdman leaves, goes to TFC. And then, of course, in the fall, they blow it against Jamaica and a chance to qualify directly to Copa America.
Yeah.
Man.
And now we wait March against Trinidad.
Good Trinidad
Which is
team.
far from a sure thing.
One off.
But we've talked about they have to get into this Copa America competition. You have to. With the World Cup coming up, they have to get into that competition. They need to hire somebody too. Who's going to be the manager of this team?
Well, listen, the general secretary was supposed to be hired before the new year. There's a week left, right? They still might do it.
Yeah.
I was speaking to people this week who are saying it's still on course. They're down to, I think, a final 4, including, I believe, Jason DeVos, who's the interim, is still in the running for this.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting. When they get that person in place, then they'll get the head coach. But you do wonder who's out there, who's available, what the money is, because you got to pay for a coach. So, yeah, it's going to be a big, big start to 2024.
And no matches from now until March, right?
No.
Oof, fuck.
Really tough.
Yeah.
Man, and it should be potentially a great year for the men's side if they qualify for Copa America. I don't care how they perform at Copa America.
No, they can
They're
end
going to
up
be
getting
facing
smashed.
Argentina in the group stage.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. They've
Yeah.
been drawn in if they win that game. So you have that, then you have 2025 is Gold Cup again, then of course the World Cup in
Then the World
2026.
Cup, yeah.
So it's a big year coming up for Canada soccer, but off the field is almost the bigger story than on the field at this point.
I'm so sick of
Get
talking
that
about
shit
it, though,
sorted
right?
out,
Yeah,
please.
no kidding. Let's talk about the
know.
football. But I guess you mention it all the time. This is how, this is how it is in footballing nations, right? It's not just what goes on the pitch. It's not always all good
That's
and
true.
rosy. It's about all the bullshit that happens behind the scenes. It happens everywhere. We're just talking about Jenny Hermoso in Spain. They
Yeah.
won the Women's World Cup. No one's even talking about them winning the World Cup. We're talking about that bald, fucking asshole who decided to do what he did. But that's just how it goes.
Yeah, it is, I guess. So you're saying that we are a football nation?
I think we are, yeah.
No, we're not.
Who's asking that question, James Sherman?
My God, how dare we discuss that again? It's we've gone over that a lot. Just for the record, our boss, Kevin Kennedy,
Yes.
big football fan, loves TFC, loves Celtic, of course. Doesn't like the conversation, are we a soccer nation? Why are you even talking about that?
Who's having that conversation?
We are. But we're not, for the record. There's your answer. Let's not continue. Let's go over some of these questions, shall we?
Let's do it.
Sarah, put some time into these
Sure.
before we move on. Okay, so... all right. Actually, her first question was, what is your favorite memory of 2023? Was it Spain winning the Women's World Cup? Was it Messi smashing MLS? Or was it Barcelona winning La Liga? Oh, for Christ's sake, Sarah.
God, Sarah.
Jesus, she had to slide Barca in there, didn't she?
The
There's
Messi
other
craze,
stories out
the
there.
Messi craze was great. I wouldn't say it's my favorite moment. My
She's
favorite,
so predictable.
My favorite moment from 2023.
I tell you, Messi might be my favorite moment. The announcement when you saw Beckham there, getting emotional. I thought it was incredible. That whole and then the Cruz Azul game. I know it's in that stupid Leagues Cup.
Yeah.
But the storyline itself, coming onto the pitch, free kick, and sticking it in injury time against Cruz Azul. I mean, what a storyline that was.
That's true. His run in that Leagues Cup was incredible.
Superb.
Yeah, so that's probably top moment. For me personally, maybe Ange coming at Tottenham, and even though I didn't know who he was, and I'm like, I don't want this guy. After seeing the first few games that Spurs played, I'm like, oh wow, we hit the jackpot.
Yeah,
So
big time.
maybe Spurs signing Ange.
She asked what the most notable thing that happened in football in 2023. I think we discussed that already.
Yeah.
Good or bad. And any memory that's particularly bad or triggering. Bad or triggering? Well, I mean, we mentioned the Hermoso Rubiales. That was way up there.
Yeah.
You know what? I think maybe the John Herdman interview late in the year.
Oh, that was sad.
When he announced, essentially he shouldn't have been at the World Cup. He was dealing with his sister's suicide. That was triggering. How it's quick to jump on people. and to criticize.
I thought the same
without
thing.
having an idea what's happening behind that mask. And that was something that I think we should remember.
And he holds himself so well, so you would never know.
You'd never know.
You had no idea. But if you're going through that in any walk of life, I mean, good luck waking up in the morning and getting motivated to go to your 9 to 5, let alone trying to
Just dealing with it, right?
trying
and
to
in his case,
put together some sort of footballing.
he had such guilt that
plan.
he didn't. She reached out to him in the Gold Cup,
I know,
and
it's
he
bad.
felt that he didn't deal with it as he should have done. And this is a guy that's so meticulous, so planning person, a solutions man, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was probably triggering.
And he'll wear that for a long time. That's going to take a long time to heal, you know?
I am looking forward though to seeing the rebirth of TFC under John Herdman. Though I really am.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what to expect from this team.
He rebuilds cultures,
Right.
and that culture needs to be stripped down to its bones and rebuilt. So that'll be the start. But in MLS, you can turn things around pretty quickly. So I think it's going to be a fascinating thing to watch next year. Quiz-wise, okay, here's one for you. Can you name the top 4 teams in order in last year's Bundesliga? Think about it. You know the top 2 for sure.
So Bayern Munich won.
Yeah.
Dortmund, because it came down to the last day.
Yeah, remember Musiala scored
Yeah.
in the 89th minute, I think it was,
Yeah.
for Bayern.
I'm pretty sure Dortmund won their game 2 at home. Okay, so
They lost their game. They drew it.
Did they lose?
They drew.
oh, okay, I thought they won. Sorry, I just remember. Oh, you know what it was?
Jude to Mainz.
Jude was doing the farewell. That's what it was.
Jude was, he didn't play in that game. Remember, he was hurt.
Yeah.
And that's a big moment, by the way. Bellingham going to Real Madrid
Yeah.
and doing that. That was a crazy finish because Dortmund had to get a draw. So had to beat Mainz, who they should have beaten, and win the Bundesliga and dethrone Bayern Munich. And they
Couldn't
got
do
a
it.
draw, and I think it was Cologne, who Bayern beat with that Musiala winner late in the game.
Okay, so Bayern, Dortmund. I want to say Union Berlin.
They were 4th, yeah. So
And
qualified for the Champions
Frankfurt?
League. No, it was Leipzig.
Oh, Leipzig. Yes.
3rd. Union was incredible last year. Came from nowhere.
They were top at one point.
They were, yeah. Qualified for the Champions League. And they obviously crashed out in the group phases. But in Spain, this is a story so far this year, is Girona.
Yeah.
Like, they come from nowhere.
Did you hear? So I was reading that in the Champions League, Manchester City and Girona might not be able to play in the Champions League together because it's the same ownership.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah.
I'm sure it'll change.
They'll find a way.
Money will probably change hands at some point.
Yeah.
But that's a massive story.
Most assists in the Prem last year?
It wasn't Kevin De Bruyne.
It was.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, there's that. I was going to say Trent, but
After Victor Osimhen, who had the most goals in the Serie A last year? I knew this one as well because I forget why. I was doing some research for something and it surprised me. Although perhaps it shouldn't have surprised me.
Lukaku?
No, it was Lautaro Martinez.
Oh, my
And the
boy.
only reason it surprised me is because Bavaria just hates this guy so much.
Yeah. Well, it's because I picked him to win the Golden Boot in the World Cup.
Oh, really? Did you?
Yeah.
Who are the 4 semi-finalists in the Women's World Cup?
Spain, Australia, England, France,
No, Sweden.
Sweden. Oh,
bad.
yes.
3 out of
that's
4.
right.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
Do you remember the award winners at the Women's World Cup?
No.
Golden Boot?
No.
No.
Oh, Spanish.
No.
Oh my, not Spanish?
No. Surprised me too. I forgot all about this, but then I recoiled and oh yeah, of course.
Who's it?
Japanese striker.
Oh, that's right.
Hinata Miyazawa. Best player? Mentioned it already.
Jenny?
Bonmati.
Oh, Bonmati.
You won't get the best young player.
No.
Summer
way.
Parasuela.
No way, I won't.
And Mary Opes, who got best keeper. All right, let's move on now. What else? Great questions to Sarah provide for us here.
What else we got?
Okay, we know this one. Who scored the Champions League final winning goal?
Rodri.
Yep. How about in the Europa League final?
Hold on. Okay, before we do this,
Who was in the
who the
Europa
hell
League?
was in the Europa League
Well,
final?
Sevilla, obviously, because they're always in it.
Who did they play? They played English team? No.
Played Roma, remember? Jose was going for it.
And Nesri?
No, Montiel.
Oh, okay.
Penalty.
Oh my God, Montiel again?
Did it again, yeah, again.
What a
Yeah.
machine.
She even wrote again here in the answer.
Oh, okay, there you go. What a machine.
A Conference League, remember that? Remember who won the Conference League?
My mind is thinking it's Frankfurt Rangers, but it's not.
No, that was the year before, I think.
That was the year before.
Yeah.
Oh, West Ham won it.
Yeah.
Who scored in that game? Was it Jared Bowen?
Yeah. Well done. Nicely done.
Yes, I love that.
Future Liverpool player.
Well, I got to be better at these quiz things because you called me out on Twitter, by the way.
I know. Well, you were terrible last week, and you let me down. So I have such faith in you usually.
I saw him like James Sharman and tagged me. I'm like, this is not good.
Yeah. No, that's from last week's little quiz. Let me down. Okay, I mentioned who played in the Europa League final. She's so predictable. Who were the top 5 scorers in La Liga?
Robert Lewandowski.
Mm-hmm. You might get the next one, but you won't get the next.
Vinicius?
No.
No.
He's no longer playing in La Liga.
This player? Oh, it's Benzema. Oh, that's right. I forgot he was there. It's in the rest of the league. Good luck, Albert. Anton Griezmann?
No. Actually, he did take top 5. He tied 15 goals along with Vida Muriqi and Iglesias. And 16 goals had Jose Luis San Martin.
No.
Of course.
Of
course, we knew that. Did Newcastle win a trophy in 2023?
No.
No. But they made a final.
Okay, I didn't know if there was like some Audi Cup or something.
I know, exactly. They obviously lost to United in the final of the League Cup.
That was so disappointing.
Oh, here's another one for you. Name 4 Spanish goal scorers in the Premier League in 2023.
4 Spanish goal scorers in the
that's a
Premier
good
League.
question, though, actually, even though it's so predictable that she would have...
Okay, let me think about this one. Because I'm drawing a complete
I had
thing.
2 of them.
Okay, Pedro Porro. Is he on there? He's got to be. He scored.
Okay, I'm confused here about the question. Name 4 Spanish goal scorer in the Premier League. Okay, I think there were 4 goals scored by Spanish players.
Okay.
Who were the Spanish players?
Pedro Porro?
No.
He's not on there. He scored.
Hang on. Sorry, this is going way down. Oh, wow. Yes, he did. Sorry, I'm incorrect there.
Okay, so that's who's...
I'm trying to break into Sarah's brain here because obviously it's going to note form. That's a scary place to be.
Okay, there's no Spanish players on...
There's a lot of Argentine flags, a lot of Spanish flags.
Thiago?
He didn't score.
He did. He scored a beauty.
Not according to Thiago Alcantara.
Was that the
Could have been in the cup.
Yeah. Because you remember the goal I'm talking about outside the box?
Yeah. I think it was League Cup.
It kind of just whizzed in? Okay.
Yeah, the old daisy cutter.
The old daisy. I love those. Love those goals.
Beautiful.
Okay, Arsenal. Any Spanish players on Arsenal? Not that I can think of right now. Manchester City. Rodri?
He had 2 goals. I'll go through some teams for you, make it easier for you.
Yeah.
Wolves. This player had 2 goals.
Oh, Pablo Sarabia.
Nope. Unless I'm going down the list here. Yes, sorry, he had a goal. Yes, he did score. That player had 2 goals. One is an obvious one.
On the team?
Yeah.
A Spanish player?
Yeah.
Traore?
Yeah.
Adama Traore.
Okay, Liverpool did have a Spanish goal scorer from Spain.
What?
Youngster. Bajetic.
He's Spanish? I thought he was Serbian.
Me too. I'm a fan of the team.
What?
One more
have to fact check that
Another
one.
Spanish player for Wolves.
Another Spanish player for Wolves?
You know this guy. He's actually 47 years old, but his playing age is about 27.
Who is this?
When he played for Chelsea, he was 24, and there's no doubt he was in his mid-30s.
Oh, no.
He's a beast out there, animal, nasty, renowned for being a shit disturber. Good player, though, in his time, but didn't do too well for this team, Wolves.
I can't.
Diego Costa.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, right?
I forgot about that little stint he had.
Mm-hmm. Other Spanish players, Leeds Firpo.
Oh, yeah, Junior Firpo.
West Ham's Fornals.
Yeah.
He had 3 goals for West Ham. Laporte at City didn't score.
Yeah.
He had Porro, had 3. Rodrigo at Leeds, 13 goals.
Oh, yeah, he was a machine.
Of course.
Anyone at Villa?
No.
They have Pau
They have
Torres. Oh, that's this year.
When and what was Leo Messi's first goal for Inter Miami? You mentioned that Cruz Azul.
Cruz Azul.
Yeah. Good little quiz.
Not bad.
Sarah, it's too bad you weren't here to do it properly.
Name the Spanish goal scorers in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Name Spanish top scorers. And in La Liga.
All right, listen, it's Christmas season, so many games. We're going to get through the most recent round of 4-4-2 picks when we come back, okay? Looking more big picture, though, perhaps, than specific games, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, don't go anywhere. Room 442 is brought to you by North Star Bets. Play 442 picks for your chance to win up to $250,000. Make your EPL picks and play for free at 442picks.ca. It is time now for 442picks.ca. Man, there are so many games over the festive period. We just absolutely love it, but it makes it kind of confusing because there's games every single day and we can date ourselves really quickly. So today, I mean, we'll go look at the standings first of all, right? The leaderboard. Sarah Pararia just bossing it still, 30 points up, surging Albert Vitanian. Although I'm just 6 points back of you, buddy.
I know.
It's a big weekend coming up.
I made a mistake.
In 442picks.ca. A big weekend coming up. But let's talk today briefly about Christmas and Christmas presents. What one football Christmas present do you really want under your tree?
As a Spurs fan, healthy players. Give me James Maddison back. Give me Van de Ven back. They're supposed to be coming back in January. So a healthy Spurs squad. I want to see what this healthy Spurs team can do in the last stretch of the season. We saw how well they can play when they're healthy early on. Let's see what happens when you get some reinforcements in January and your best players come back.
I want healthy players overall. I mean, there's so many injured players this year, right? So many teams have been crippled. Look at Newcastle.
Yeah. Oh, disaster.
Right? Destroyed, but they're still finding a way. Even Manchester United, who we criticize and revel in that criticism, they've had a lot of injuries as well. Yeah. Not to make an excuse. But yeah, that's a nice one. I'm going to ask for a big box full of no talk about the Super League, no talk about Club World Cups, no talk about, ill-conceived money-making schemes. It's just ruining the sport. These are human beings, these footballers who can only play a certain number of minutes each season. And I don't know how we expect them to play more and more. It's an old argument, but it's getting worse and worse. And the people at the helm of UEFA, FIFA, CONCACAF, English football, they don't seem to understand this. It's all about the money. So no more of that talk, please. That's what I want for Christmas. 442picks.ca. That is your destination. It's free to play. Loads of money coming up in the new year. So sign up right now. Room 442 is brought to you by North Star Bets. Play 442 picks for your chance to win up to $250,000. Make your EPL picks and play for free at 442picks.ca.